What happens when one of daytime television's most beloved hosts comes face to face with a guest who refuses to play by the rules? In just 39 seconds, a simple question about charity work would ignite a firestorm that would end with security escorting a former royal off the set. Jennifer Hudson sat across from Meghan Markle in her bright studio, the audience settling into their seats with anticipation. The show had been promoting this interview for weeks. Everyone wanted to hear what Meghan had to say. Jennifer, ever the gracious host, smiled warmly as the cameras began rolling. "Welcome to the show," Jennifer said, her voice genuine and kind. "We're so happy to have you here today." Meghan crossed her legs and offered a tight smile. "Thank you for having me, Jennifer. Though I must say, I'm used to a slightly different setup. This chair is a bit, well, basic." The audience shifted uncomfortably. Jennifer's smile never wavered. "We like to keep things comfortable here. Just a conversation between friends." "Friends," Meghan repeated, looking around the studio. "I suppose that's one way to describe this." Jennifer pressed forward, professionally ignoring the slight. "I wanted to start by talking about your charity work. You've been involved with several organizations. Tell us about what matters most to you." Meghan leaned back, examining her nails. "You know, Jennifer, I think the real question is why we're even calling it charity work. When you've lived the life I've lived, when you've been at the level I've been at, helping others isn't charity. It's simply what's expected. It's obligation." "That's an interesting perspective," Jennifer responded, keeping her tone measured. "But for many people watching, giving back is about genuine care for others." "Of course you'd see it that way," Meghan said, her voice dripping with condescension. "You came from, what was it, Chicago? You don't understand what it's like to be born into expectation, to have the weight of an institution on your shoulders." The audience gasped quietly. Jennifer maintained her composure, though something flickered in her eyes. "Actually, I came from a very humble background. Yes, and I'm proud of that. It taught me empathy." "Empathy," Meghan scoffed. "Everyone thinks they know empathy until they've walked in my shoes. Do you know what it's like to have the entire world watching your every move? To be photographed constantly? To be criticized, no matter what you do?" Jennifer nodded slowly. "I've been in the public eye for many years. I understand that pressure. But I also understand that with platform comes responsibility." "Responsibility," Meghan said sharply. "Let me tell you about responsibility, Jennifer. Responsibility is carrying on when an entire family turns against you. Responsibility is speaking your truth, even when the world tries to silence you. Can you relate to that? Have you ever been silenced?" "I've faced my own challenges," Jennifer said calmly. "But this interview is about you and your work. Let's talk about the initiatives you're passionate about." Meghan waved her hand dismissively. "See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're trying to control the narrative. You're trying to put me in a box. This is what they all do. They want me to be quiet and agreeable and just answer the questions like a good little guest." Jennifer's patience was being tested, but she remained professional. "I'm not trying to control anything. I'm simply trying to have a conversation that our audience can connect with." "Your audience," Meghan said, looking out at the crowd with barely concealed disdain. "Do they even understand what we're discussing? Do they comprehend the level of scrutiny I've endured?" A woman in the audience called out, "We understand just fine." Meghan's head snapped toward the audience. "Excuse me? Did someone just interrupt me?" Jennifer quickly intervened. "Let's keep the focus between us. Now, you mentioned speaking your truth. What truth do you want to share today?" "My truth," Meghan began, "is that people like you, Jennifer, people who've had these little shows and these little careers, you don't understand what real pressure is. You sing some songs, you host a talk show, everyone loves you. It's easy for you. You've never had to fight the way I've fought." The studio fell silent. Jennifer's expression hardened slightly. her professionalism the only thing keeping her composed. Meghan, I've lost people I love. I've struggled. I've worked incredibly hard to get where I am. I don't appreciate you diminishing my journey or anyone else's. Oh, here we go, Meghan said, she rolling her eyes. Playing the victim card. That's rich coming from someone who's never actually been victimized by an institution. I'm not playing any card, Jennifer replied, her voice firm but controlled. I'm simply asking you to show respect. Respect for me, respect for this show, and respect for everyone here. Meghan laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. Respect? You want to talk about respect? Where was the respect when I was driven out of my own family? Where was the respect when the media tore me apart daily? And now you sit here in your little studio and lecture me about respect. Jennifer took a deep breath. I'm sorry for what you've been through. Truly. But that doesn't give you the right to belittle others or act as though your pain is the only pain that matters. You have no idea what I've been through, Meghan snapped. None. You can't possibly understand. You're right, Jennifer said. I can't understand your specific experience. But I can understand hurt. I can understand loss. And I know that using pain as a weapon against others isn't the answer. Meghan stood up abruptly. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. Do you know who I am? Do you have any idea of my status? The audience murmured in shock. Jennifer remained seated, looking up at her guest with steady eyes. I know exactly who you are. The question is, do you? How dare you, Meghan hissed. How absolutely dare you speak to me that way? I am a duchess. I am royalty. You're just a host of a daytime talk show. Jennifer stood now, matching Meghan's energy, but with far more grace. And you're a guest on my show, a show built on respect, kindness, and real conversation. Not on status or titles or putting others down to make yourself feel superior. Superior? Meghan's voice rose. I don't need to make myself feel superior. I am superior. Look at what I've accomplished. Look at who I married. Look at the life I've led. Well, what have you done that compares? I've treated people with dignity, Jennifer said quietly, but her words carried weight. I've lifted others up instead of tearing them down. I've used my platform to spread joy, not division. That's what I've done. Meghan's face flushed red. You think you're so much better than me, don't you? You and your audience, sitting here judging me. None of you know what it's like to be me. Maybe we don't, Jennifer agreed. But we do know what it's like to be treated poorly. And right now, that's exactly what's happening here. Treated poorly? Meghan's laugh was harsh. You invited me on your show. You wanted this interview. You wanted the ratings boost that comes with having someone like me here. Don't pretend this is about anything other than using my name. Jennifer shook her head slowly. I invited you because I thought we could have a meaningful conversation. I thought you had something valuable to share. I was wrong. You were wrong, Meghan repeated mockingly. Yes, you were. You were wrong to think you could handle someone of my caliber. You were wrong to think this little show was big enough for someone like me. Then perhaps you should leave, Jennifer said calmly. The audience gasped again, louder this time. Meghan stared at Jennifer in disbelief. What did you just say to me? I said perhaps you should leave, Jennifer repeated, her voice steady and clear. If this show isn't good enough for you, if we're not good enough for you, then there's no point in continuing this. Meghan's mouth opened and closed. You're kicking me off your show? I'm giving you the option to exit gracefully, Jennifer clarified, because this conversation has become disrespectful, and that's not what we do here. Disrespectful? Meghan's voice reached a new pitch. I'm the one being disrespected. By you. By this audience. By this entire production. How? Jennifer asked simply. How have we disrespected you? By asking about your charity work? By trying to have a conversation? By asking you to treat others with kindness? Meghan pointed a finger at Jennifer. You don't get to turn this around on me. I came here as a favor to you. Do you understand that? A favor. And this is how you treat me? A favor, Jennifer said softly. You think appearing on my show is a favor to me? Of course it is, Meghan said. Your ratings will go through the roof because I was here. People will talk about this for weeks. You should be thanking me. I should be thanking you, Jennifer repeated, nodding slowly, for coming on my show and insulting me, insulting my audience, insulting my career, and acting like everyone here is beneath you. Is that what I should be thanking you for? You're twisting my words, Meghan accused. I'm repeating them, Jennifer corrected. Your words. In the things you've said in the last few minutes. You called my career little. You called my show little. You dismissed my experiences. You mocked my audience. Those are your words, Meghan, not mine. Meghan grabbed her purse from beside the chair. I don't have to stand here and be attacked like this. You're not being attacked, Jennifer said. You're being held accountable. There's a difference. Accountable? Meghan's laugh was hollow. You want to talk about accountability? I've been held accountable for everything. Every tiny mistake, every word, every action. The entire world has held me accountable. And now you? Yes, Jennifer said simply. Me. Because on my show, everyone is accountable, including you. Meghan's eyes flashed with anger. You know what? Fine. I'm leaving. I don't need this. I don't need you. I don't need any of this. Then go, Jennifer said, not unkindly, but firmly. Meghan turned to walk off the set, but then spun back around. You're going to regret this, Jennifer. Do you know the kind of influence I have? The kind of connections? One word from me and your career could be over. The audience erupted in defensive shouts. Jennifer held up a hand, quieting them. Is that a threat? It's a reality, Meghan said coldly. I have power. Real power. Not this fake daytime television power. Real influence in real circles. Then use it, Jennifer challenged. Use your power, your influence, your connections. Do whatever you feel you need to do, but do it from somewhere else, because you're no longer welcome on this stage. Meghan's face contorted with rage. How dare you speak to me this way? I could buy and sell you 10 times over. Money isn't everything, Jennifer said quietly. Easy to say when you have it, Meghan shot back. I didn't always, Jennifer reminded her. But I've always had my integrity. I've always had my respect for others. And I've always known that no amount of money or status gives anyone the right to treat people poorly. Meghan stepped closer, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper that the microphones still picked up. You're nothing, Jennifer. Nothing. A singer who got lucky. A host who got a show. You're replaceable. Forgettable. In 5 years, no one will remember your name. Jennifer didn't flinch. Maybe, but they'll remember how I treated people. They'll remember the kindness, the respect, the love. What will they remember about you? The question hung in the air. Meghan had no answer. Her face flushed deeper, her hands trembling with fury. You'll pay for this. I promise you that. Jennifer turned to her producer off camera. Please have security escort our guest out. Security? Meghan shrieked. You're calling security on me? On me. You've threatened me, Jennifer said calmly. You've been hostile to my audience. You've made it clear you don't want to be here. So yes, security will help you find your way out. 2 security guards appeared at the edge of the stage. Meghan looked at them, then back at Jennifer, her expression one of pure disbelief and rage. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. You can't do this to me. I can, Jennifer said, and I am. This is my show, my stage, my rules, and the first rule is respect. You've broken that rule repeatedly. Respect, Meghan spat. You want respect? From me? You haven't earned my respect. I don't need your respect, Jennifer replied. I have my own. I have the respect of my audience, my team, and most importantly, myself. That's enough. The security guards stepped closer. One of them spoke gently. Ma'am, please come with us. Meghan jerked away from them. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. Do you know who I am? Yes, ma'am, the guard said patiently. We know who you are, but you still need to leave. Meghan looked around wildly, then as if searching for someone to come to her defense. The audience sat in stunned silence. Jennifer stood her ground, calm and composed. The other guests scheduled for later in the show watched from backstage in shock. This is a mistake, Meghan said, her voice shaking now. A huge mistake. You have no idea what you've done. I've protected my show and my audience, Jennifer said. That's what I've done. Meghan's eyes filled with tears, though whether from rage or humiliation was unclear. You're making me look like a villain. I'm not making you anything, Jennifer said softly. You're showing everyone exactly who you are. I'm just letting it happen. I'm not a villain, Meghan insisted, her voice breaking. Then stop acting like one, Jennifer replied. Stop threatening people. Stop putting others down. Stop acting like the world owes you something. Start showing the grace and kindness that you claim to want for yourself. Meghan stood frozen, and the words hitting her visibly. For a moment it seemed like she might say something, might apologize, might find some semblance of humility. But then her face hardened again. You'll regret this, she repeated. Maybe, Jennifer acknowledged, but I'll regret it with my integrity intact. The security guards gently guided Meghan toward the exit. She resisted slightly, but eventually allowed herself to be led away. As she reached the edge of the stage, she turned back one final time. This isn't over, Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer said firmly. It is. Meghan disappeared backstage, her voice still audible as she berated the security guards. The audience sat in absolute silence, processing what they'd just witnessed. Jennifer took a deep breath, smoothed her jacket, and turned to face the crowd. Well, she said, a small smile playing at her lips. That was unexpected. The audience erupted in applause. Not polite, obligatory applause, but real, thunderous support. They stood, clapping and cheering, showing their host that they stood with her. Jennifer's eyes glistened slightly as she took in their response. Thank you, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Thank you for being here. Thank you for understanding. This show has always been about respect, about lifting each other up, about real conversations. And sometimes, real conversations mean setting boundaries. The applause continued. Jennifer wiped at her eyes quickly, composing herself. We're going to take a quick break, she announced. When we come back, we have some incredible guests who actually want to be here and who understand what this show is about. Don't go anywhere. The cameras cut and the studio lights dimmed slightly. Jennifer sat back down in her chair, exhaling deeply. Her producer rushed over, concern etched on her face. Are you okay? Jennifer nodded. I'm okay. That was intense, but I'm okay. You handled that perfectly, the producer said. Absolutely perfectly. The way you stood your ground. The way you didn't let her bully you or the audience. Jennifer, that was incredible. I didn't want it to go that way, Jennifer admitted. I really hoped we could have a good conversation. I wanted to give her a platform to share something meaningful. You gave her a platform, the producer said. What she did with it was her choice. Jennifer looked toward the exit where Meghan had disappeared. I hope she finds what she's looking for. I really do. All that anger, all that pain she's carrying. I hope she finds peace. That's generous of you, the producer said, considering how she just treated you. Hurt people, Jennifer said simply. She's clearly hurting. But that doesn't mean I have to accept being treated that way. Compassion doesn't mean accepting disrespect. The makeup artist came over to touch up Jennifer's face before they went back on air. Jennifer sat still, her mind clearly still processing everything that had happened. The audience chattered excitedly among themselves, phones out, already sharing what they'd witnessed. Backstage, Meghan was still arguing with security and producers. Her voice carried through the hallways. "You can't treat me this way. Do you know who I am? I'll have all of your jobs. Every single one of you will regret this." A production assistant peeked around the corner at Jennifer and mouthed, "She's still going." Jennifer shook her head slightly, a mix of sadness and resolution on her face. The assistant disappeared back down the hallway. The sounds of Meghan's protests gradually faded as she was escorted further from the studio. 30 seconds, the stage manager called out. Jennifer straightened in her chair, took another deep breath, and found her center again. This was her show, her space, and she'd protected it. Whatever happened next, she knew she'd done the right thing. 15 seconds. The audience quieted down, settling back into their seats. The energy in the room had shifted. There was an electricity now, a sense of having witnessed something significant. They'd seen their host stand up for herself and for them. They'd seen boundaries being set in real time, and they'd seen what happens when respect is non-negotiable. And we're back in 5, 4, 3, 2. The lights came back up. Jennifer's smile returned, warm and genuine. She looked into the camera with the same kindness she'd shown at the start of the show, before everything had gone sideways. "Welcome back," she said, as if the last 15 minutes had been just another day at the office. And in a way, it had been. Just another day of being authentically herself, standing firm in her values, and showing the world that kindness doesn't mean being a doormat. The show went on,